What is up, y'all? Shabbat Shalom. I am in a different setting than usual. I filmed our full moon in Aries Oracle and Tarot workshop this afternoon. So I figured I'd sit here and do our weekend reading since I've got the nice table layout. So yeah, I haven't posted the written blog yet. I haven't written it, but the message, I think I want to just talk about it and do the video, and then I'll write about it afterwards. But it's continuing our theme. So tonight is Sukkot. It started at sundown and it goes through sundown Saturday. And normally we shake the lulav during Sukkot. But I'm wondering, because we didn't blow the shofar because it fell, Rosh Hashanah fell on Shabbat, I'm wondering if we don't shake the lulav on Sukkot. Shake your lulav. Shabbat. We don't shake the lulav because we're not using tools, we're not doing work, we're not using technology. So I imagine then if we were to abstain from the shaking of the lulav, which the purpose of that is to like shake out like the negativity left in your energy field that wasn't already vacuumed out and sucked out during the soul cleansing of Rosh Hashanah and the 10 days of repentance and Teshuvah, and then again in our fast during Yom Kippur and that final shofar blowing at the very end of Yom Kippur. So Sukkot is to, double down and go back and just go over and get rid of anything that is remaining. And so it's supported by this Aries full moon to release what's standing in our way of making this new start and like expanding into our full potential. Anything that's like a bad habit or a limiting pattern or self-defeating tendency, limiting beliefs, wounds, traumas, all of that, addictions, that are holding us back from expanding and going forward. It's just like we're letting it fall away and we're leaving it behind. And we're, going forward as a new person. So this reading is kind of honing in on this whole thing. And so anyway, before we get into the reading though, tonight, it would be great to reflect on, what we want to let go of. Go watch the Oracle Tarot Aries Full Moon workshop that I did. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. It's uploading now, so I'm not sure when it's finally going to drop, but when you see it, it's really, really good. It's very encouraging, and it gives you a lot of direction as to like what is happening right now and where to put your intention and focus. And so maybe, write down, what you're letting go of, and we talk about that. We talk a little bit about some homework in the workshop, but then also maybe, even taking like a salt bath or doing something relaxing and reflective that is cleansing, that releases and gets you centered into a non-working related, like maybe you sit in meditation, you're just in quiet reflection without the lulav. And then you can always shake the lulav later if you have one. I don't have one. You can order one special, but this time of year, I just substitute with a cinnamon broom. It's cleansing and it's got exorcism powers, cinnamon does. And so there's specific reasons why, certain components are used in ritual, but if you don't have it, you don't have it. So I just substitute the best I can and try to, use similar materials that are that are resonant, I guess you'd say, that have affinity with. Okay, so for the weekend, we're honing in this Aries supermoon is shining light on the culmination of sort of what's being brought into our awareness this year. I think really about how we interact within relationships and how we choose our relationships and relationships with work, relationships with friends, family, lovers, life. It's kind of the focus of the lunar nodal shifts from Taurus and Scorpio into North Node in Aries and South Node in Libra, which we're using our the lessons that we've learned through our relationships and healing those wounds taking that experience and wisdom and now embodying it, now that we have this sort of new awakening and an up-leveling sense of self, and we're transcending the old self, we're elevating our consciousness. Now we're showing up to life differently, and we're changing our perspective, and so we're changing the way that we show up within our relationship to life and to other and to substance and to experience and to people and etc. So this reading is really speaking to that. We have, from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, we have the Empathy card, which is the Moon in Pisces. We got Drama, which is Mercury in Leo. And we got Discrimination, which is Venus in Virgo. Underneath Empathy, we got 8 of Cups. Underneath Drama, we got 4 of Cups paired with the King of Pentacles reversed. And then underneath Discrimination, we got the Hanged Man. So the Empathy card, like, this is talking about the patterns that we're overcoming in order to finally, like, take a stand for ourselves, stand in our worth, and put our own best interests in the forefront instead of self-sacrificing to a toxic and self-deprecating way. To that degree. It's like we're always wanting to be vessels of sharing, but we also have to have healthy boundaries as well. And so this is more about establishing healthy boundaries and cutting the cords and ties and patterns that keep us circling in enmeshment. The moon in Pisces, like, warns of the psychic ability to be so empathic that you are feeling everyone around you and you're feeling their feelings as though they are. And so it gives you even more empathy and compassion because you can feel what it's like to feel other people's pain and you just want to alleviate their discomfort. And by doing that, it's like you are getting into a codependent pattern and cycle and exchange that is unhealthy. And so you're overgiving from yourself from a negative reactive place, and it's not really sharing because it's also taking, but it's you might be interrupting discomfort that they need to be able to push through their growth edge. Everyone has a different threshold for their rock bottom, and so you don't want to deprive someone that just because you want to save them from pain and discomfort. Like, we can't interrupt. Like, sometimes we just have to let people learn for themselves, and that's the only way that they can learn. Believe me, I've tried with people. I've tried to do everything that I can to prevent them from having to go through painful cycles or to help them get out of those painful cycles, but you can't interrupt someone's process. You just can't, no matter how hard you try. So the lesson now, and this ties into our romance reading from last night and the workshop, but it's about really taking care of your own needs and loving yourself first and not waiting on someone else to do that, because no one will ever permanently be, you're the only person who will always be with you no matter what, right? Until the day you die. So you have to know how to take care of yourself. You have to be willing to walk away from destructive things that could hurt you, or that aren't serving your highest good, or that are taking from you, or that are damaging you, or making you sick, or causing you, suffering. It's like you have to protect yourself. You can't abandon the self and expect someone else to take care of you. It's like you can't like that, like people will do what you do to yourself. So you have to demonstrate first to yourself love and devotion and empathy and compassion and intimacy. And then that will attract something in affinity with, right? But for now, it's like a sacrifice needs to be made, and there needs to be like cords cut so that there's no longer this habit of enmeshing the self with others, feeling responsible for their emotional well-being. So like enmeshment is like if you feel like you have to go out of your way to make everyone else always comfortable and happy and secure. It's like you're making yourself responsible for their emotional well-being, when in reality we are all responsible for our own emotional well-being. And how much you let the world get to you and things, that's something that we have to manage through our energetic boundaries and our emotional resilience. And so this is about moving forward and moving on to something that is more meaningful toward our own path. We're moving forward towards our potential and towards our goals and dreams and what is in alignment for us. And so we're moving in a more meaningful direction instead of always sacrificing who we are and what we want and what's important to us and our needs always for everyone else's. By walking away and cutting that cord to the enmeshed codependent relationships you've had with people, you're sacrificing this thing, but you're also setting them free and having empathy for them as well to go through their own process of healing and the things that they need at the moment. There's also a theme here that keeps coming up in reading after reading about having an insight into what will be popular and fashionable and needed out in the world, and like having a sense of like there's some value, you have like a good idea or some creative thing in you that like you can fill a void in the market, like something will be well received, like you kind of are like you have like a good instinct for the zeitgeist and what people want, and something that's fashionable and that fills the void in the market. There's something that you might have an idea about that you see has value, that you see could grow. That's something like a creative idea that you have maybe that ties into your own particular talents. So yes, we are moving on and moving forward and moving on to things that, are going to bring healing and more meaning and deeper meaning for us, and getting aligned with that path and moving away from enmeshment and codependency and, also just having, sympathy for others, and just having sometimes when you keep wanting to push something, even if you want to be helpful, it's like you're almost doing more damage than good. And it's like you're aggressively pushing your agenda because you want to make it right because you're uncomfortable with the situation. And it seems like you're being giving, but really it's like you're domineering and you're disrupting or whatever. So it's almost like holding space or giving space for others without putting their needs ahead of yours. It's like, go take care of yourself. Go do your own thing right now. And let others work their own thing out, because we're all going through this moment right now where we are recentering and recalibrating ourselves, and we're healing. And so this is taking a lot of focus and deep inner reflection. And so we're all kind of going through this portal. And so it's like we need support, but like distant support. We need to be left alone, but like also like have the support and connection. And it's so like paradoxical, but we're all just going through this portal of change and this timeline jump. And so over the next couple of months, things could be there could be like turbulence, and a strain, feeling like a strain with people, or like everyone is so emotional. And it's like sometimes the best you can do is just give someone space, or give someone an ear, but like just listening, but not pushing an idea on them, just showing compassion and mercy, or just leaving them alone. or, you know, not not needing someone to be over the pain, right? Have you ever sat with someone and you're crying and they're like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And it's like, I need to cry. I need to be angry. I need you to like witness this raw, you know, truth here. It's kind of like that. It's just like, take life as you find it right now. Let people be what they need to be at the moment and have empathy for that, and just keep moving on on your own path. Keep moving forward, doing your own thing, following your goals, doing the inner work on yourself. Because the drama card, it has a positive side too. It's like kind of like this big grandiose show of something. You could be very theatrical and really dramatic, and have like theatrical talents that you want to display. And maybe you're waiting for something to come through right now, like an opportunity. Four of Cups is like sort of dissatisfied with what's going on at the moment. Things are kind of stagnant. You're kind of focused on these issues in front of you, and there is an opportunity waiting to come in, but you're sort of like preoccupied with your dissatisfaction. And it's like sort of like you're in an angsty moment of like stagnation and boredom, and you need to like shake things up. The King of Pentacles, as it relates to maybe waiting for an opportunity or a breakthrough, is like you're not looking deep enough into the situation. You are thinking that you know what's happening, but there's more to it, and so you're not looking deep enough. It's like you're only looking at the surface. This is like someone who's like talking a lot of game, but their actions and their like consciousness aren't aligned behind it. This could also be someone who is the change needs to happen underneath, on an emotional level, on an energetic level, on a vibrational level. And it's like the King of Pentacles reverse. He doesn't get that. Like, it's the material world is not his strength, but almost his weakness at that point. And by it's not gender necessarily, but this is the masculine outer expression. So maybe what needs to be done is the inner work right now. And that when we shift that, then our outer efforts will make more difference. But right now, it's like we keep spinning our wheels going like, oh, what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? And we keep thinking that it's just this surface level thing. So we're just doing these mundane things that aren't really like pushing or propelling forward. And it's like, it seems like I'm doing all the right things, but it's really something that has to be changed from a deeper level. There's this thing, it's like immanence versus transcendence. It's like some people, like light workers and healers and mystics, they find it easier to be transcended, and they find it easier to like float up into the upper realms and, you know, converse with the spirit world and angels and believe in miracles and magic and experience that and channel that through very easily. But they have a hard time in life, just like getting basic things done or being on time or keeping up with the mundane tasks. It's definitely me. But then there are other people who are more immanent, and they find it hard to believe. They're intelligent. They can read, scripture, but it's not alive for them. You know, they can see the value and the virtue and the moral, but like it's not something that's alive on the inside, where they believe in the miracles and they believe in deep change, and it's just the process. It just hasn't come alive for them. But they're really great at material world things and getting things done. And so, yeah, there could be an aspect of needing, like, feeling like there's a lot that can grow here, because like there's part of the drama card was seeing a big idea, because this is Mercury in Leo. So Mercury is like big thinkers, they're deep thinkers, they are adventurous and experimental, and they love like going to the far reaches and exploring, and they're very curious. And Leo is very like out, shining and extroverted and out in the spotlight. And so this can be like someone who can see like this big idea and see all this potential in this big idea, and see like there's so much growth opportunity here. And it's like this person here, it's like it's like the inner, the feminine sitting next to the masculine here. It's like the feminine is like, I see like there's something deeper here that I need to look into. There's an emotional issue going on here. Ding, ding, go watch the workshop, talking all about that in depth, right? There's emotional issues underlying the surface here that are preventing me from seeing the opportunity at hand. So that this could be also like your emotional issues that you're not seeing, that's preventing you from taking that cup that's like this potential, this new opportunity at hand for this great new beginning, this emotional renewal. This is the Ace of Cups. So this is new beginnings, new relationships, new emotional renewal. But it's like you're looking at these 3 cups that have been sitting in front of you that you're like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, but you're preoccupied with the wrong thing. And you are focused too much on like shallow material efforts instead of like getting in, like tapping into that deep subconscious belief that's going to unlock everything. And then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, everything makes sense now. I have been doing things fairly correctly. It's always been more of an emotional, energetic block than it has been literal execution. So if you're dealing with a person, again, you know, like giving that space, the empathy to let people go their own way for the moment and do what's best for you for now. Again, don't get hung up, you know, wishing that things could be different. If you have someone whose life is upside down and they're, you know, kind of not getting it yet, right? It's like maybe they're looking at the surface still. Maybe they haven't had the time yet to go deep. And so this could be people that you're, you know, friends with or trying to work with, or this, you know, could be opportunities or, you know, people that you're reaching out to for opportunities. But if it's, you know, like it could be like a parent, like wanting them to like finally see what you're trying to get them to see, and you're trying to do the healing work, and you want it to be mutual, and they're just not getting it, you know. They're looking at all of the, you know, the petty stuff, and they're not like going deep like you are. They don't remember that they don't want to or whatever, you know. It's like, if you spend time obsessing over this, it's just going to create drama, right? Instead, get really discriminating, right? Because this person, whoever you're whoever this person is preoccupied with, the situation here, it's upside down at the moment. The King of Pentacles in reverse, here's some notes from Eileen Conley. This man is most materialistic, talks a lot, and often appears stupid. He is opinionated and easily led. Oh, that's another thing, is that, you know, be careful about who you team up with in business and in love. And I keep using those examples because it's kind of like Venus heavy themes right now. Venus governs love, money, security, like what we build our stability upon. And so this person, a king in reverse, is easily bribed, or like they're easily swayed like into doing something or going along with something, or like they're mercurial in a way. It's like they can be easily influenced, or even in the worst case scenario, easily manipulated, right? Easily steered in one direction or the other, which doesn't lead to satisfying business relationships, friendships, whatever, romantic partnerships, because then that person isn't strong, they're not reliable. This can be Mr. Nice Guy too, or Mr. Nice Girl, right? People pleasing is dangerous, because then you don't have like the backbone to establish a boundary. And so you can get into very gray areas by accident, and like kind of danger zones and situations where you might be in compromising positions or situations where you're like, ooh, this is getting awkward. I'm like now in sort of shady territory, because I didn't just say no. I wanted to people please everyone, but now in order to go along, to get along, it's like now I'm doing something that is kind of like not kosher, not in alignment with what I should be doing, or, you know, by honoring something else. See what I'm saying? So it's like you can get yourself in sticky situations if you're overly like if you're triggered and your trigger response is fawning. then anytime you're triggered into thinking, oh no, someone's upset with me, I have to fix it, I have to make it right, I have to go out of my way and bend over backwards to make sure that everything is pacified and things are fine. So then that starts so many things. When we invest in things and make an effort in them, we begin to value them. We begin to place value or perceived value on that thing. We become more emotionally attached to that thing. And we can misperceive that as being attraction and feelings. And really what it has only been is a manipulated trauma response, whether on purpose or not. And so careful about when you're acting based on when you're triggered, right? Be careful when you're out there interacting with those with you. If you are making someone feel triggered and then they start to fawn, that's not authentic. That's not real. So don't base things like that on false senses of security, on false foundations, right? On cracked foundations. So that's why we're getting to the root of all of these subconscious things, right? Think about how often you're triggered in life, right? And so that usually taps the button for low-level trauma response. Do you fawn? Are you prone to limerence? Do you run? Do you shut down? Do you freeze up? Do you fight? You know, like what are your trauma responses? Watch yourself having them, but also keep in mind if you are interacting with someone, if they are trauma responding in response to you, right? Very interesting, changes things a lot. So in the meantime, while everyone is doing the work and healing with themselves and everybody's having space to do that, we are learning to be more discriminating about who we're choosing and why. And this is who we're working with, where we work, what projects we're taking on, what we're putting our focus and what we're putting our attention and resources and energy into. This is like who we're choosing to have around us. They say that you are the sum of the 5 people who are closest to you, right? So we have to be discriminating on the perceptions and the mindsets and the perspectives and the energy and the threshold for success that we have around us, right? The mindsets of the people around us are going to affect us, and they're going to put a glass ceiling on us, or it's going to open one, right? So again, we are becoming more discriminating against like who we allow into our intimate circles, right? And so what do we want in a partner? What do we want in the people who are closest to us in our like tight-knit community, village, family unit of friends? Who do we want our love partner to be? What qualities do we want in them? And what do we think it makes a good partner versus not a good partner? But right now, we're being given this chance, the Hanged Man, to sort of have a pause in activity, to reconsider and think and get our perspective right, and get to get a change of perspective, and to sort of turn everything upside down for a minute, you know, to look at things differently, but to take a pause. And it's not necessarily, it's only a seeming pause in action, usually, is the Hanged Man. It seems like, oh, is anything ever going to happen again? It feels like I'm never going to get another job. It feels like I'm never going to get another call. I'm never going to have another date. No one's ever going to call me on the phone again. I haven't had a text in like 3 days. Everyone's thought I'm dead. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a seeming pause in action that feels real. There's more going on beneath the surface than meets the eye, and there's more going on behind the scenes than meets the eye. So this is just a chance to really reflect on what is the vision? What is our big vision of ourselves and our life going forward? You know, we can have a sense of that starting to bloom and to blossom. And, you know, don't get too down on yourself if you don't have a clear, articulated vision of that yet. But the more that you can get there, the better. But also, it's like remembering and taking enough time to really solidify and be clear on what it is we're letting go of. what behaviors of ourselves that we are not going to keep repeating? You know, what does the world keep offering us that we're gonna stop saying yes to, right? What is the temptation that's just like not really? It's like a test that the universe is like, are you gonna fill up on these like free samples, or are you gonna wait and have like a beautiful, you know, meal, hold out, right? And for the thing of high value. Okay, we are 30 minutes in. I think that I hit all the key points that I needed to. I don't think I need to go back and read anything from the Radiant Sun. If I do, then I will write it in our blog. All right, y'all, take care. Ciao.